Before I begin talking about the Dado blade, I just want to say it was a very tough campaign trail that I was on there for the last few weeks, and I want to thank all of those people that assisted me in my campaign. And I will stick to the promise of a chicken in every pot. So, no, I'm very glad to be a director. Yes.
Any reason Wayne Patton isn't up tonight?
Yeah, believe me, I was hoping to see it. But I'm looking forward to working with the executive and the incoming president and of course the other directors, and hopefully I'm going to stay on working with Mike on Thursday nights if he'll have me, and keep the shop going then. Anyways.
You didn't thank the people who voted for you.
Well, I don't think anybody did, but I think it was confirmation. So, but thank you, Ed. Thank you very much. We're going to talk tonight about Dado blades. This is mine, and this is a very particular to me, because this is what got me to join this club. Believe it or not, it was at a time when I was looking to build a workbench, and I had the plans, and I knew I was going to be using a Dado blade, or I wanted a Dado blade, and to cut the dados and rabbit cuts and so forth. And in my search to buy the Dado blade, I came across Durham Woodworking Club, and I came out on the Monday nights. And I was a cheap bugger. I didn't pay for about a month. I just kept coming to the meetings hoping to win the 50-50 to be able to pay. And eventually joined up. Wayne Peden was here, and Wayne and I were old friends from, we worked together on the service. And I just have to say that it was absolutely the best $60 I've ever invested in my life, and for each year. And the membership has been fantastic, and the people here. So having said that, let's move on. Okay. I'm not an expert on Dado blades. I was volunteered by another Wayne to come up here and talk about them. But I do think it is an important thing to know and understand the use of these. And it's just a continuation of what Calvin talked about some time ago about joinery, what Wayne Peden talked about. It's just another form of working with a tool that will best suit you for the job you're going to do, and in particular, joinery. So, does anybody have a Dado blade of their own? Holy jeez, I didn't expect that. Okay, there's two types of Dado blades that I'm aware of. One is a wobble, and one is the stacking blades. This is particular one is a stacking. Does anybody have a wobble blade? I didn't think there would be that many idiots in it. I gotta put my little sign up here. It's not a joke. It's just to assist me. I forgot about it. That's how good my memory is. I forgot the sign to help me remember what to talk about. There's basically the two types of Dado blades, and one is the wobble, which just by its name itself turns you right off, and the other is stacking, which sounds more manly to me than wobbles. There's pros and cons to each one, and when I was looking for a Dado blade, I did look at the wobble. The pros to the wobble is it's just a single blade. It's a dial system. They go counterclockwise, and you can change the moment or the shift in the blade to a degree using these adjustments to get your width of your cut, and of course your depth is just generated by how high you put your saw blade. What I read about, and I've never used one, the issues surrounding wobble blades is that they're not as accurate, there's also a tendency that they do leave a groove in the base of your cut, and that sometimes you have to sand that out. The edges are not always as straight, and it is much easier to work with, much quicker to put on your saw. You're not constantly going back and forth, but I don't believe that it can get the accuracy of a stacking blade, and I'll show you why once we move along. I chose the Freud stacking set, and I'm extremely happy with it. How often do I use it? Very seldom. How many? Anybody use it on a daily basis? It's one of those things. It's really great if you put the money out and you have it, because at one time you're going to use it, whether you're making cupboards or whatever you're going to make. It is the greatest tool in the world. It just speeds up the production, and especially if you know how to use it and how to set it up quickly, it really makes a very, very fine cut, and it really aids you in producing a professional look and doing it, quite frankly, in a very safe way too. And I'll talk a little bit about safety. Now, the Dado blade will produce all kinds of cuts. I'll give you a few examples here. Well, the Dado, and Dado means trenching. It basically is making a trench. And here I've cut dados. This is the most common. This is where a dado is cut into a board halfway through or whatever, and then the pieces hopefully fit. You can see the fit is just, and that took me a little bit of time. I didn't bring the piece of wood because I got down to 1/1000th of an inch to make sure that I got the fit that I wanted. Now you say, well, what would you use that for? If you were going to build a tall cupboard on a wall, you'd want something maybe halfway up that's going to go in between your two side pieces to keep it joined together and give it stability, rather than just have shelving into it. So this is a really good cut. This I would almost glue this in and be comfortable that it would not come apart. That's how tight it gets, and it's just a really good fit. This here is a rabbit cut. It's along the edge. You might put the top of a workbench or something on top. Again, you're getting more coverage for glue, and that's something else you want to keep in mind. If you're gluing two boards together like this, and these are I think they're half inch about, you've got a half an inch across here and a half an inch there. When you glue here, you've added on this section in here, which is 3/8 of an inch. That's an additional gluing space, which gives you more. Now you've got something that will sit on top and give it support. Another nice cut, and it takes a little bit more work to set it up, but you have a laptop cut. Can you see? Are you? I'll draw it on the board if you can't see it.
Wait, put on the a little zoom in on the camera.
On which? This one? I'll pass these around anyways. But you see the fit in that. And again, we're talking about a more gluing area for your shelving, your cupboards, whatever. When I built my workbench, and that was the project in which I bought this blade, I routed out the tops and the backs, At 3/4 inch, I use 3/4 inch MDF. And by the way, if you're ever going to cut MDF in your house, make sure you've got a good vacuum system, because the first time I cut the first board, I thought I was going to be divorced. Like the dust, it was just horrendous, just horrendous. That's why I came into here and did all the rest of the cutting. It really is bad. Don't do it in your home unless you've got a superb system. But anyways, getting back to the bench I was building, I put a rabbet cut across the top and down the back so that my 3/4 inch pieces that went across the top and into the back were all supported. I don't think, they suggested putting screws in. I never put a single screw in that whole thing. I put some finishing nails using an air gun, and I just glued it. And that thing has been rock solid. I've got drawers in it. It's carrying a ton of weight, and it's never ever moved. So these type of, if you cut them well and you fit them well, the joinery is very, very good. And Wayne Peden talked about it, and his system is very quick. And there's nothing that you can't do by hand. You can do this with a chisel, you can do this with a hammer, you can do it with a saw. But this is really, really much quicker. Couple other things, when I was building my tape